Hey, welcome back to Taboo Talk with Sarah, the podcast that fosters hope, breaks the silences, and talks about the tough stuff so you never have to feel alone. We make space for stories we carry in silence, the truth behind the smiles, and the strength it takes to show up when life feels messy. I'm your host, Sarah Jordan Ross, and today we're diving into the layered, often unseen terrain of motherhood with my very special guest, Hailey Nielson, who it's her first time on a podcast, and I am so happy that she chose to be on this one with me. Hailey has a passion for helping mums and children live authentically and free. She's here to share how mindful, emotionally intelligent parenting can become a healing force for ourselves, for our kids, and the generations to come. We'll talk about parenting while still healing, what it means to build legacies of freedom, and the quiet courage it takes to raise confident, joyful kids in a world that often asks us to abandon ourselves. If you've ever felt stretched thin between your own pain and the love you pour into your family, this one's for you. Hailey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with your story and with what lights you up. What sparked this passion of yours for mindful parenting and building a legacy?
So I was a young mother at 19. I had my first daughter, and I feel like I had a unique parenting style at a young age, even knowing that motherhood just was different. I saw things different. The way I raised my children versus other moms that I saw on the playground. I feel like I've been a mindful parent for since I had my first child. But I feel like over time, with the world and how things are and things that we've been through and going through domestic violence, going through abusive relationships, I feel like it's really been important to be mindful and to be, I mean, obviously to protect your child, but to know what's happening and to help them adjust to the challenges we're facing, whether it be, financial or just worldly. There's so many things that we need to keep our children in mind for sure and let
Yeah.
them know what's happening. And so yes,
Yes, parenting's a tough gig.
yes, for sure, for sure. But it's also so rewarding, there's so many things so rewarding.
Yeah. It's the best job ever. But there are those days where it makes you want to tear your hair out or you question whether you're doing it right.
Yes,
So
definitely.
you speak a lot in your work about wanting mums to live authentically and free. Can you share a bit about what that's looked like for you in your own life?
Uh,
What got you to that space?
yes, I feel like through my challenges and through things I've been through, like I said, being a young mom, being going through different relationship challenges, going through domestic violence, going through worldly changes, I guess. I feel like being authentic has never been, I grew up with six brothers, or I mean, not six in the household, but three brothers, and I was the only girl. And there was always this expectation from even from my dad, to keep up and I always just had this tough exterior, I guess. And it never was really me. I mean, of course, I have that, but I was never able to just be the girl I was supposed to be. I was never able to just, I mean, I feel like there was always judgment from somewhere. And it wasn't, my dad was in a military family. It's not that he did a great job, that my parents did the best they could, with the education and the resources they had growing up. And I feel like as I went through things, through my children too, like being authentic, being able to tell my child what's happening, or through going through a divorce and being able to explain to them to a point where it's not hurting them, but it's helping them understand instead of being so confused. That really is what sparked my urge to be authentic. And as I've been single for 6 years, and I've been a single parent for 6 years. That's really through my children and through our growth. That's really what's helped me be myself, because all we have is ourselves. All we have is each other, and to help raise a teenager and a toddler, you know. I mean, encouraging them to be themselves is what you have to do in this world today.
And it's not always easy to shine that light for them, because I know I would hate to be a teenager now. It's just so different to what we had. I'm perhaps a little bit older than you, and where you were a young mum, I was an older mum. So, and like when I was a teenager, if we were having a rough time at school, home was our sanctuary, or if we were having a rough time at home, then school got to be where we escaped. But I don't think kids now have that to the same extent that we did.
I agree. It's kind of, I feel like there's so many kids that are navigating alone, and there's so many parents that are disconnected from their children because of devices and because of, I mean, distractions that they're raising themselves, you know? So kind of helping them find out who they are. It's our job. We're the example. It's our responsibility to help them find that safe space, you know?
And it's hard to find yourself when you're constantly surrounded by judgment or expectation, and sometimes even it's unexpressed expectation.
Yes, exactly.
So, how do you help parents and kids navigate that, the figuring out who they are and then being that in the world?
I feel like helping the parent be strong, and obviously the healing aligned with your children it's so possible and so attainable and so powerful. And helping the parent kind of find what they want, what their dreams are, what they want to do, you know, kind of help them tap into that childhood dream, or that something that they desire to do, so they're happy, and they shine happiness, and they can help their children and be a role model for their kids instead of going to work being upset, you know, learning. I mean, I was raised that you know, you work for everything you have. There's no handouts. There's no dreams were not even discussed. I mean, that wasn't even anything until I was older. So I feel like helping the parent find out what truly is makes them happy, and kind of helping them navigate. Like, I mean, I ask people in the grocery store, or you know, what do you want? What's your dream? And people will tell me, you know, I wish I could do this. And I'm like, well, why can't you? You can do it. It's attainable. And kind of helping people change their perspective instead of being in a box, you know, and helping it. I mean, that's what I feel like we have to do with our children. So we all have this old school parenting, this old school mentality that needs to be really broken into, and kind of, you know, be a dreamer, and let's figure out what you want to do so your children can chase their dreams also.
Yeah, because you can't guide somebody else to follow their dreams if you don't actually know what your own are as well. So helping people find that. So one of the big things we're going to be talking about in Taboo Talk coming up is that tension between caring for others and helping them be authentically themselves when you're also carrying your own pain. So what has that looked like for you? Have there been moments where you've had to parent through exhaustion, overwhelm? Like you mentioned going on that healing journey with your kids. So can you unpack that a little bit more for us?
Yes, so I have been, I mean, I look back, and it's crazy how to think I even got through that parenting when going through fear, very heightened states of fear, going through, you know, having a protective order with my youngest daughter's father, and and living in that state of fear, and then parenting also, and trying to help your kids feel safe, and also because you don't want your kids to feel scared when you're scared. So creating something that is where they feel safe, where they feel comforted, but also being a mom was the hardest thing I think I can think of. And all I could do is just keep consistency, keep the sense of normalcy, keep the, you know, if I was alarmed, take a break, take a minute, and really try to process it, and not let them see, you know, and it's not hiding, but I was being authentic. And so when they were to ask me what was happening, or ask questions, I was in a good state of mind where I could share it with them, where they felt safe still. So a state of overwhelm, you know, just being a single parent and having to kind of navigate on my own. I've really gotten close with my 17-year-old. She's seen so many things, but at the same time, it's helped her grow into the woman she is. It's helped our faith. It's brought us together. Our faith is, I mean, it grows every day. Like we are united because of our trials and what we went through, because I didn't leave her out, because I included her and answered her questions. And I feel like there's parents want to protect their children and not share things with them, but at the same time, that's almost hurting them because you're not helping them be self-aware. And
Mm.
it's teaching them authenticity without even realizing it, you know? Like, this is mom, this is what I'm going through, this is what's happening, and we get through it. Um, there's nothing hidden, I guess. And
Mm.
then you build trust, right?
That's it. And our kids are a lot smarter and more aware than we sometimes give them credit for. So they know when something's going on. They know when something's not right. And even as babies, they tune into your emotions. So if you're scared, worried, upset, they're going to be as well. But if you can share with them, yeah, I am all of those things, but I'm going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And you can talk about how you both feeling and navigate through it together rather than them feeling like, yeah, that's the thing mum's doing, but I'm just over here by myself.
Yes.
So
And
making them
don't
feel
get me wrong, there's been
connected.
times where we've been both heightened and we've been both, you know, but we're getting to that meeting at the point where we're able to both come down or both, you know, I mean, that builds so much trust, like I was saying. And and those moments of there is no perfect parenting and there is no perfect way to handle things, but to be present of your children and what they're going through is I mean, it's so rewarding and so enriching and so powerful, and it's going to help them as adults too, you know, and their parenting and their future.
Yeah. We're all looking for that connection and that place where we belong. And Brené Brown points out brilliantly how belonging and fitting in are not the same thing. It's like belonging is where you fit in and you're accepted and loved just for who you are, where fitting in asks you to change who you are. And I love that you create that space where your children and you fit, you belong. And you mentioned your faith. So, how much of part in your healing journey has your faith played?
A huge part, the biggest part. And I think that um, that's something that is so sacred and so important for people to realize that, you know, when I started going through challenges and since I was in high school, I had been going through things and I gave up. I just felt there was a point where I just felt just I was angry. I was upset. I was thinking there's not, you know, there's no way that he would put me through these things. Um, and in the middle of a very hard time, the hardest time, one of the most abusive relationships I was in, um, my oldest daughter said, "Mom, you know, it's not God's fault. It's not." Start talking about praying, and I was like, I couldn't even. She threw me off, because we're very close, so we're very intuitive to each other's how we're thinking, um, and she asked me to say a prayer with her, and I did. I was still in the state of fear, thinking, okay, you know, and after she said that prayer, it really made me realize, like, oh my gosh, I haven't prayed for so long. Like, I haven't, there were so many things that came in. There were so many things
Yeah.
that night, the next morning. I mean, I opened my scriptures and just randomly opened them, and I was being spoken to. And there was things that there was no way. I mean, word for word. There's no way anybody else. There's no way. It had to be our Heavenly Father. And we from that day we started having the missionaries over. We started having just different experiences that I was having with Hudson, my 17-year-old daughter, who had this amazing faith but knew that I was in a state of fear. And so I really owe it to her to that she really, there was something, God put her in charge of me to pull me back in because it was powerful and she wasn't even baptized yet, you know? And um so through our experiences, through that one prayer, it led to so many things and so many answered prayers, so many blessings. And my 5-year-old, you know, I mean, she says that we say a prayer when we're laying in bed at night. She has such a strong testimony already because she has example, her sister is an example. She has, it's only us three. So creating that, I mean, sitting in church with them and having that feeling of there's no feeling like it. And literally our faith has got me to where I am today. It helped me be a better person. It's helped me. I have more clarity. I started seeing colors different. Like colors became brighter. It sounds crazy, but things just started clearing up. And now today and Hudson decided to get baptized on her birthday, and she chose that day, and it was just from that day on, I swear that we have so many things have happened and it wouldn't be happening without our faith. There's no way. I isolated myself. I was alone, but I wasn't alone. And now he's walking with us. And um yeah, I have so much to share when it comes to that and how important it is to pray with your children, like to say prayers with your children, to kneel down on your knees and say a prayer with your children at night is so powerful. And it's just something that is um it's sacred, you know. It's something that's not it's hard to share with other people because not everybody wants to talk about religion, but it's such a big part of
Yeah.
my story that as I come out and share this with my that I'm not afraid to share my part of my faith that has got me here.
Yeah. That's why I called my podcast Taboo Talk, because it gives me permission to talk about anything I want to. And they, with a lot of people that I've spoken to, their faith is a big part of who they are and how they move through the world. And I know for me, with some of the challenges that I've been through, I don't think I would have gotten through it without my faith. There's one thing I know for sure that I've learned along the way. There is a plan. Some days I really wish he'd let me in on what it is, but
Yes, I get
doesn't
it.
always happen. And I'd also like if some of my lessons could be delivered minus the cosmic boot up the backside, or at least that take the steel caps off before they kick me. But usually that's the way I learn, that things are very obvious and can't avoid looking at them anymore. But there's always that, when I trust that there is a plan and I lean into that and I pay attention to the signals around me, things tend to work out really well. It's when I do but I want it to look like this and I want it to be like that, that it's like, nah, I've got something better in mind.
That's exactly.
And I know my mum said once, so I was raised with faith. Both my parents grew up in Catholic boarding schools. I have 4 aunts who are nuns, so God was a given in my life.
Uh-huh.
I married an atheist, and my mum said at one point, he needs God in his life, and when that happens, everything else will just fall into place. And I don't mind admitting that, as mums have a bad habit of being, she was absolutely right. And when God did get his hands on Jeff, everything turned around. Like the point where he came to faith, we were on the edge of bankruptcy, the edge of divorce. Our marriage was all over bar the shouting. But then when he found God and a relationship with God, and a faith that is a all day, every day, how you live your life kind of faith, not a go to church on a Sunday and be seen to be doing all the right things.
Right.
Everything in our life turned around, and we had 2 children at that stage. We now have 3. So, and
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
so it
Yeah,
just
that's
goes there that things can turn around in unexpected ways,
and
and that our
that's
faith.
where I yes, our faith is. I wrote right here, my faith is what led us out of the darkness. I believe all my
Yeah.
trials definitely were for everything I've been through, no matter how intense. I know it was for a reason. And I know that God was there the whole time. I know that He was, but I had to go through these things literally to be able to now I can help people. Now I can help other people because I know the difference. If I hadn't been through, you know, domestic violence or certain things, even medical misdiagnosis, like I would not be able to, I wouldn't know it was real. I wouldn't be able to help people and be understanding and be able to help them through their problems. If I didn't have children who went through what they went through, I wouldn't be able to have that empathy for mothers or children or to know how to bridge that. So I feel like it was a big blessing in disguise, no matter how crazy that sounds, it's real.
No, it doesn't sound crazy. It sounds like something a lot of people would be able to relate to. That those things that we go through, there is a purpose behind them. And sometimes if we can turn that pain into purpose, like Jackie Wilkinson talks about it in her book and in a couple of conversations that we've had. Her book's called Turning the Tables on Trauma. She turned that pain into a purpose and into helping other people overcome similar things to what she had. And you're doing the same. So you've mentioned legacy. And what are some of those generational patterns that you're consciously trying to shift or breaking through with how you parent now?
So the legacy is not based on money or based on material anything. It's based on what I want my children to take with them for their children and for my grandchildren. And that is connected to authenticity again, resilience, and to feeling knowing who you are and knowing how to navigate in the world and being mindful of other people. And there has been so many things that my older daughter, my ex was very, he wasn't very nice, and they parented very different, or he did. And my 17-year-old daughter has come to really, I mean, there's things about me being mindful with other kids, being kind, being mindful, service, giving service, just knowing what to do at the right time, knowing how to help one another, and being a good person, right? And so that's really what I want to build, a legacy of freedom, because if you have all those things and you have your faith and you are God serving and you're honest and you have an integrity and integrity is a big one for us. Then I feel like the rest will come and fall into place, and the gifts and the blessings that they're meant to receive, they will get if they are, giving back and being themselves, and they get to be themselves instead of being confined and being restricted to what the world wants them to be. So that's the legacy of freedom is I feel really passionate about. Like, I want to help mothers who have felt that have not felt freedom, have felt confined, help them break those patterns of domestic violence or trauma, the trauma, like Jackie. I love Jackie. Breaking those patterns, and helping them live and be who they were meant to be.
So when you say freedom, what does that actually mean for you?
Freedom means living by on your own terms, living on your being yourself, living how God made you to live. And freedom, is that's what I feel so free right now with my children and what we're going through. And because and I'm still working on it, and I'm still getting involved in things, and I'm doing different things every day, but um having that freedom to be ourselves, to not be uncomfortable, to not feel shame, to not feel guilt, to not I that's to me that's freedom. And when you get to live who you are and be who you are, um that's free. People might say money is freedom, and for a while I thought, money, oh my gosh, money is freedom, and when we have money we'll be free. but that's not it. Like, we have so many things. We are rich, and because we have things that other people don't have. Um, so helping other people attain those is freedom, I feel like.
Because while money can get you some things, the fact that we both live in a country where, as women, we're allowed to get an education and we're allowed to express an opinion. Where in so many places in the world, for women, that's not true.
Exactly.
So
And that's,
that's
and
why,
yes, creating it internationally where where people could, that's where sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to, that's where I want to do, I want to take it, is I want to create it, I want to create an international, um, women's network to go to different places and to literally, I mean, I want to see everybody, all the women and children all over the world, and help them too.
yeah, so how about you share a bit of that vision with us of what you'd really, of that change that you would like to see?
So yeah, so that's, I mean, it's something that I think about when I wake up in the morning, and the last thing I think about when I go to bed at night. And I actually just joined I'm part of a group now that helps exchange students come or help them. We have a college here, so help them find housing here. And so that's new to me, but I'm starting to do things a little bit globally, to kind of to get out there, I guess. But just creating a legacy of freedom for women everywhere to go to, I mean, to go everywhere, to go to these different countries, and to see how how they're living, to help them get to where they need to go. And it might be different than here, but I have I have a passion to do it. I want my daughters to go with me. They want to, if I said, right, go to Africa, they'd say, okay, let's go. And I have a 21-year-old daughter in California, and she would be right there with me too. And I'm not saying she'll break up with her boyfriend, but he'll understand, because that's the unity we have. That's the vision that we have. Going to Africa to help, or going anywhere to help the kids who are hungry. I mean, this is something that I know that I can't change the world by myself. I know that it takes a team, and I know that, but making an impact and talking and being and speaking on stages and educating people and trying to help them understand on a different level than what they need to do. And that, like I was saying, that classic old school mentality of how things should work, and embracing each person. And it's just, to me, that's powerful. To me, to take my children there, and to go around and have different shelters. I would love to have women's shelters, and for women and children, and those shelters to have children, or to have like a coach in the shelters to help the women know and try to figure out what that dream is. Like I was saying, to try to figure out what they truly want. Because when you're in crisis and you're going through trauma or pain or any of those things, let's get the mom well, so then the mom and the child could thrive. Because even if it takes, forever, I mean, starting somewhere and helping those mothers know, they might not even know what they want to do, but helping them tap into something and finding something that is enriching for them, so they could be a better mother, or they could be a happier, not a better mother, but they can thrive. I feel like that's breaking those multi-generational curses of consistent trauma and tragedy. And I mean, that's just, I feel so driven to do that, and so called to do that. And I just, like I said, I'm not going to stop until I do it. However I do it, I don't know, but it's a calling that's like deep in my soul. And um, I just woke up one morning and felt so, it was the confirmation. I felt so compelled to do it, that it just has not gone away since that morning I woke up. And I've prayed about it. And every time I pray about it, I feel like it just gets stronger. Like he's saying, like, this, like more strength, more passion, more, and I know that it's something that has to be needed.
Because so often, for so long, mothers in particular, we put ourselves at the bottom of the priority list, forgetting that if we collapse in a screaming heap, that's when our kids are at the most risk. When they're in the most trouble is when we fall apart. So we need to be doing those things that light us up, that keep us connected, that keep us grounded in our truth, and allow us to be the guides and the light that our children need us to be.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I love that that's the message that you're sharing with the world. So if somebody was listening now and they're in the thick of those challenges that you went through, they're burnt out, they're doubting themselves, they're overwhelmed, they're struggling with domestic violence, or even just the young mum being completely overwhelmed by what how hard parenting actually can be, because yeah, no one gives you an instruction book and tells you how it's going to be. And I know as an older mum, it's like, work side, I had that down. This tiny little baby threw me for a loop because it's like, yeah, I've looked after other people's kids. I know what to do till I can hand them back, but this one I don't get to hand back.
Right?
So,
Yes.
yeah. And I think we all need other mums to come beside us and say, hey, yeah, I get it. You need to take care of yourself so you can take good care of them. But what's one simple thing you would say to another mum who's in the space that you once were?
I would say, well, before I say that too, I want to start, I'm starting like a women's group too for moms so everybody can kind of have that support system. So yeah, that's something that's in the works. And I would say the biggest thing would be, I mean, I want to say prayer first. I want to say pray and, and ask for strength and ask for guidance and ask for the answers. But I would say, and to me, that's self-care. But self-care is the biggest thing, I think. And praying is part of self-care, but like I feel like that's something that is way more powerful, in a sense, because you're obviously talking to your creator. But self-care, I feel like that's one of my biggest thing in my whole. You have to take care of yourself, like you were saying, and you have to be able to think, because if you can't think properly, you can't navigate, you can't take care of your child, you start getting depressed. I mean, I've had depression, anxiety, PTSD. I've been diagnosed with ADD. I've been diagnosed with bipolar. I mean, so everything you can think of, and everything that I was diagnosed with. I mean, I've been diagnosed even epilepsy one time, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, I didn't believe it, and I'm fine now, but it was circumstantial. It was however I was being perceived by the doctor due to trauma, due to fear, due to overwhelm and pain and all these things. I was diagnosed with something that if I would have followed that diagnosis, it would have been really hard for me to navigate in the world. But I'm not saying not to follow what the doctors say, but just use your intuition and take care of yourself and take those baths and sit down and look your children. If you're having a hard day, this is what I do. If you're having a hard time, I get on the floor and I look at my toddler. I look at her and I look in her eyes and everything is fine. And she'll just hug me or whatever, or we'll play or, anything she always resets me. And I'm so grateful for that. And my older girls were raised differently because it was a different time. And I was a young mom and I didn't protect them per se, like as much as I do with Winter, my 5-year-old, because I did the best that I could with the skills they had. But my 5-year-old, I have a connection with all my girls, but that's what helps me. Look at your children and just look in their eyes and hug them. And it literally is magic. It's powerful, and bond with them. And that's healing. Stay off devices, stay off, however you need to heal or navigate. But I feel like that's so important to touch base and to tap in. Because when you lose that connection with your children, it's really hard for you to take care of yourself, because then they're out of control. They're they're lost more, more so. So, yeah, I'm just passionate about that. Like that works for me, and self-care is very important.
It's about connection and community. So often we try to do everything all by ourselves and think we have to do everything all by ourselves and have all those answers. But we were designed to do life in community. We were designed to help each other and to nurture each other and to be connected with ourselves, with each other, and with with God. You and I both call the higher power God, but it doesn't matter what you call that higher power. It is all about connecting with that source and with that source within yourself as well, and then sharing that with your kids. So, Hailey, is there anything else you perhaps haven't shared with the world that you really want to now?
I just feel like when you said community, it just made me think, I just had this vision of, taking your child to the park and just talking to another mom. If you, I'm like a helicopter mom, so like I'm at the park and all the kids are, I'm like in the middle of all the kids, um, but, having that connection in that community too, if you're feeling very isolated, going to, going to the library and sitting and just try to connect with another mother, because that's really healing and really cool also. And the community is important, because being isolated is not helpful for anybody, not for the child, not for the mother, not for anybody, like not for the growth. I feel like it's important to feel good about yourself and to be connected and to have that connection. And I just want to say that I am so grateful for this opportunity to be talking to you right now, and it is my first podcast, and so it's empowering and it's inspiring, and I'm excited for this journey to share with other people and to help mothers and to help the children too, and healing alongside your children is so powerful and it's so attainable, and it might sound crazy because a mother and a child, that shouldn't, but it's so, you can do it. And I feel like the power within us and our higher power and our source um is means something, and we matter, and each one of everybody matters. And so just keep that lifeline open for um for community, or for, yeah, just don't be afraid, don't be afraid to do what, be brave and take the next step to better your life if you can.
Now, if our listeners wanted to connect with you and work with you more, what's the best way for them to do that?
So probably on Facebook. Right now I'm still in the beginning stages of creating. So yeah, it's Hailey Nielson 40 at Gmail, or Gmail, just 40 or at Gmail. That's my email also, actually. So yes, and if anybody wants to email or chat, or I'm here for whoever needs support, absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you want to be anonymous, or I'm here to help.
So I think that's part of why I started this podcast. Was I've been a massage therapist for 25 years, and I kept hearing similar stories in clinic of people going through really similar experiences, but feeling like they were all alone in it. And it's like, well, hey, if you're talking to me about it, and so is somebody else, you're obviously not alone in that. But I wanted to create that space where we can share our stories and where we can say, hey, I get it. I see you. I hear you. How can I actually help you? Because what each one of us needs at any given moment will be different for each of us, because we've gone through different experiences to get to where we are on our motherhood journey. And there is days where motherhood is the absolute best thing in the world and you absolutely rock it and you wouldn't change it for anything. And there's other days where, to put it bluntly, motherhood kicks your ass. And I think we need other mums to pick us up, dust us off, and say, hey, it's okay, go out there again.
Exactly. Yes.
And then hopefully you'll see those things coming the next time it.
Then I feel, yeah, it's just it's reassurance, knowing that you're like comfort, knowing that you're not alone, and knowing that you're not crazy, that you just, it helps a lot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that we share those stories. Stories are what connects us. Yes. So I really want to thank you for being here. I'm so glad you chose my podcast to be your first one. I have a funny feeling it won't be the last, and it probably won't be the last time we see you on Taboo Talk either. So thank
So,
you so much for joining us and for sharing
thank you.
your story.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure your words will ripple through everyone who's listening and doing her best to raise kids while healing themselves, because sometimes that's the hard thing, is navigating through helping your kids when you're struggling to help yourself. But as Hailey shared, there is help and support out there, so please reach out for it.
Yes.
And your presence here today, Hailey, reminds us that motherhood isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about showing up, connecting with them and loving them, and choosing to do that over and over, even when it's hard.
Yes.
To every mum listening, you're not behind, you're not failing. You're doing sacred, quiet work, and every time you show up with honesty, even when it's hard, you're doing a great job. I'll put Hailey's links in the show notes so that you can connect with her. And if this conversation moved you, then share it with a friend. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it, who needs to know that no matter what's going on, they're not alone. And remember, when we speak the unspoken, we build something more powerful than awareness. We build community, and we build a community that helps to build each other up. So until next time, I'm Sarah Jordan Ross, and this has been Taboo Talk. So please, till we see you again, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, your story matters, so please share it, because you never know when your story might be the thing that helps heal someone else. Bye for now.
Hey, yes. Thank you. Bye.